simple things around the home, making sure your internet stays up. I mean, from a working from home perspective, but also if you've got teenage kids.
I was going to say, if you've got, I've got 3 girls at home. If you got rid of the internet, it'd be carnage. Could you imagine that? Hello and welcome to another amazing CEF Tech Talking podcast. This time we are joined by our really good friends, Schneider, and we've got with us David from Schneider. David Mann, you've joined us to talk about what?
We're going to talk about single-phase UPSs today.
Single-phase UPSs. So UPS is uninterrupted power supply.
Correct, yes.
See, I've got that. I knew
You're across it, aren't you? There's no flies on you,
I
mate.
used to fit them.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to fit them. Used to a little bit like a little tower, like your towers that you used to get on the computers.
Yeah.
Used to fit these, and
got one.
It was mainly one UPS per office for the most important computer in the office. That's all it was really for. That's what we used to fit them. But you do something similar over at Schneider, don't you?
Indeed we do, yeah. We have a bigger range now, maybe than the offers available when you were fitting them. But yeah, certainly a lot of them are still being installed as single towers for office spaces, for sure.
Are you finding you're getting more and more people ask about UPS because of the power outages that we're hearing about, and they're telling us really sometimes that they can't guarantee the supplies anymore?
Absolutely not.
So they're saying, what is it, Mondays? They want you to not use your energy between a certain time and stuff like that?
I mean, certainly, as we're seeing the shift from working from home, in reality, an office-based or commercial outlet used to have a lot of power resiliency.
Yeah.
But with workers now shifting from home, that power resiliency for the workers needs to be within the home now.
Yeah.
So certainly you're hearing about power disruption affecting employees, but it affects them more when the employees are distributed as they are now.
It'd be harder to control, wouldn't it?
For sure.
Yeah, because the fact that you would have them all in one space, you got it.
Yeah.
Where I live, we get power cuts, you could reckon once a month.
Yep.
You know, so if you're working on something important,
Yep.
it's important that it doesn't just die.
For sure,
Yeah.
and just some of the simple things around the home, making sure your internet stays up. I mean, from a working from home perspective, but also if you've got teenage kids.
I was going to say, if you got, I've got 3 girls at home. If you got rid of the internet, it'd be carnage. Could you imagine that? Stuff like so. You're making stuff. Are you seeing the domestic market then a big area of growth for you?
Yes, for sure. And we've started to develop products now which are very specifically targeted to those applications like wireless routers and for teenagers' bedrooms, for gaming and things like that, because there is a big shift now for kids from playing outside, unfortunately, to playing inside, and it all revolves around electronic equipment, for sure.
So the UPS kicks in when the power goes off. Do they stabilise as well?
Yep.
The supply?
So that's right. So a majority of the job of what a UPS does is actually to control the incoming voltage and to give you a more stable voltage. That's probably its primary job, if anything. And then the battery is there to kick in automatically once a blackout event was to happen, and then they'll run for a couple of hours depending on how much power you're pulling, to hopefully allow you to ride through that event, but more importantly to give you time then to turn off, save your equipment if obviously the outage was
You
longer.
brought some with you. They're remarkably dinky.
Absolutely.
They're normally like massive bricks. So what sort of power capacity have we got in front of us?
Yeah, so I've got a product here which is a very typical of a home residential style product. It weighs a couple of kilograms, you'll feel it. It's
It does. I can guarantee.
There's a large battery inside that one. That's roughly 800 or 1,000 VA. It delivers about 600 watts of usable power. So something of this sort of size would be perfect for that home office setup where you're just connecting a desktop computer, external monitor, and a couple of other peripherals.
And fully charged, how long would that provide that level?
Yeah, fully charged, you'll probably get around about 40 minutes of operation out of that on a full home office setup. But it obviously really depends on how much power you're running. You can shut down a couple of unnecessary peripherals to save power and to ride through.
But generally these things give you a time for a controlled close down, don't they?
Correct,
That's the point.
that's the whole idea. Yeah.
This is plug and play, this one, but
Yes.
you've got other bits of kit here that is more you need to connect it into the installation, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. So we have plug-and-play devices for people that just want something that's going to sit there and give them the resiliency. But then we also have products that can communicate as well with the computer system, that'll send that shutdown sequencing to the computer to allow it to gracefully shut down if you weren't present in the room with it. So that's quite a nice touch as well.
So this is where servers and bits and bobs like that, isn't it? You're talking about
server storage, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's this sort of stuff you've got in front of you, is it?
So actually, some of the things I've got here are slightly different applications. So I'll show you this one first because this stays within the residential area that we're talking about. This is a brand new device that we're going to be launching in about April, May this year. And this is moving across to the lithium-ion batteries. So we're seeing a shift now with single-phase UPS moving from lead-acid battery technology to lithium-ion. Because of the high density, you can see and feel instantly it's
Tiny,
smaller,
this. I mean,
lighter.
For the non-viewing public, this is it's a large cigarette packet, isn't it? I mean, it's a white plastic box. So what will this provide?
So that is a product that's designed specifically to connect to an internet router to keep your teenage girls online, if that's what you need to do. So that'll go into your wireless router and keep obviously everything connected for them around the home. Yeah. And then if you've got larger peripherals like your computer systems and entertainment TV setups or whatever, then obviously the other products are in place to keep them going as well.
Clever. And that just sits, as you said,
next to your router. You would use that is an inline DC UPS, so you'd use the existing power cable that comes with your wireless router, plug it straight into there, and then that
goes into the router, and then it's sitting there.
You mentioned battery technology a minute ago. Now, battery technology, we know through the stuff we've been doing with home storage and people getting into batteries that lithium has gone on quite a rate, hasn't it? And are you finding the same in this type of technology?
Yeah, and the adoption rate, it was probably quite slow to take off, and the main reason because of the scale of economy just wasn't there to start with. So the lithium-ion battery technology was always priced quite a bit higher because the number of mines and manufacturing capabilities around the world just wasn't anywhere near the scale of what lead-acid is. But due to the electric vehicle market kind of coming in and taking over and pushing that forward a lot, it's driving down the price of lithium-ion considerably.
What's the latest one we heard? Lithium-4?
There was, yes.
Which is the one that won't overheat, isn't it?
It won't overheat.
Thermal runaway. You don't get thermal runaway and stuff like that,
so
do you now?
There's a couple of different chemistries, and you're right, there's been some bad publicity on some of the higher density, more thermally unstable
they're the ones we're talking
Galaxy Note.
they're the ones that blow up.
Lithium polymer are the very dangerous ones to deal with. You've got to be very careful with it.
So there's a couple of chemistries. You were talking about the PO4, so the Life PO4 option. There's also NMC as another chemistry, and then
I think that's the one we've
There's a couple of them. So obviously, as you can imagine, we're Schneider Electric. We stay on the safer side of the technology, so we don't go for the highest density that's also the most thermally unstable. We actually use the same lithium-ion technology that they're using in the BMW EV.
But do you look at these technologies and develop them in-house, or do you take what comes to you effectively, what's available, what's proven?
It's a very good question. So we've got as part of our business is the way it's growing, we've got a specialist department, actually, the research department, which is dedicated around battery energy storage and the future of that. So we are going to be starting to develop this in-house. For the products that are currently on the market, though, we're using existing technology that's already there. But obviously, going forward, it will be something we'll develop.
And is the desire from you, would it be for a faster, higher capacity battery that delivers more, or one that's much smaller that has a longer life? What's the golden battery for you?
Different applications need different things, but arguably something that's smaller is better. I always think that a UPS system, when we consider most of our uninterruptible power supplies are fitted in a rack environment that connect to IT server storage, UPS is typically took up a lot of that rack space. Those network closets are getting smaller and smaller, if not non-existent at all. And that IT equipment is trying to be put into places that is as small as possible, like underneath the stairwell.
It used to take up rooms and rooms, didn't it? And now it doesn't.
We can't have a UPS taking up a third of that rack. The reality is we need our products to be as super slim as possible, but still give the runtime that a customer will need, an hour, 2 hours, etc. So they do want high capacity, but more importantly, they don't want to take up anywhere near as much space as we used to.
We're hearing a lot of people talk about generator sets, and I've worked in the past where a UPS would kick in to bridge the distance until when the power supply went off, until the generator got up and running properly, a UPS. Is that something you guys do as well?
Yep, so we don't make the generators, but you're right, we are that interim that goes between a generator, which is your true disaster recovery strategy for a larger commercial or medical building is a great example. The thing is, obviously, with those generators is they don't kick in automatically.
No,
it can take several seconds, up to 30 seconds, depending on whether it's automatically or manually needed to be started. So the idea is the battery inside a UPS system gives you immediate power to then allow you to go for a more longer term generator.
And that'll generally be a very high capacity, but for a short period, won't it?
That's right, yep. And those generators then give you that sort of the day's autonomy, because then you'll be running on physical fossil fuels and things like that.
Yeah. And it was literally a massive cabinet that sat next to
Well, I remember at the
generator.
BBC, when I was at the BBC, we used to have racks and racks of lead-acid accumulators, which would run as the power goes off, they take over, then the diesel generators kicked up. And I think they took about 45 seconds to get fully up to speed and taking over the battery load,
It's a big thing. I mean, we've done some tech talks in Scotland recently, and they have massive outages. They're going days without it, aren't they? So they're all paranoid at the moment. They're telling us about getting generators up and running and having to do this and that. And generator is a fix, isn't it? But as you said there, if I'm working on my laptop and it takes 30 seconds for that generator to do what I need it to do, it's too late. I've lost all that work.
Well, the laptop sometimes is battery, so you're okay with that. But as you say, the router's going to go off instantaneously,
Correct,
and then you lose that, and that takes a while to come back up. These are the lifeline, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're going to have to kick it. So we're all going to see more of these. So domestically, you do it for large commercial as well. You do for those.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the units here are more residential. Then we've got the DIN rail mounted supplies here, which are for protecting PLCs and anything within a distribution cabinet at a manufacturing facility, for instance. So we have a sort of separate power module, and then there's a separate battery module. This is still using VRLA technology.
Have a look at that.
The holes on are they for connectors? What are the holes on the front?
Yeah, that's your input and output to connect into the battery supplies. You can piggyback more batteries off this if you want extended runtime. Essentially, these are
jumpers on there. What's the black?
Yeah, these are your alarms. So it'll give you status alarms whether you're on low battery.
Oh, you can
Are they
interrogate
LEDs
it.
in there, are they?
Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
You can
right.
interrogate it to see what's going on.
So it'll physically alarm you if whatever the state of the product's at. So obviously it allows you to set off a siren or anything like that if you need a physical or audible warning.
Great bit of kit, isn't it?
Lovely, isn't it? Yeah, very nice.
And over at Schneider, then I suppose you could do the lot, couldn't you? Because you make the panels anyway, so you could specify this to be in the panel as well.
Yep.
And you do a complete solution, then, do you?
Indeed, we do. Yeah, we're a one-stop shop.
Is that what you got? Is that what you do? You have to go out onto site and see these, do you?
So me personally, I'm a product manager for single-phase UPS, but I do try and get to as many sites as we can.
Yeah.
But you're right, we have lots of different divisions within Schneider that all work very collaborative together to make sure that our solutions.
So when
all
it
work.
comes to a client solution, what's the route? They come and speak to you, and you'll advise them and design that?
It's a very good question. Often we have consultants and specifiers that would be doing a lot of that work, but certainly we have a very good in-house engineering team that would be able to work with any customer to work on the solution and the different parts of the Schneider outfit that works for that. So
How do we get access to you then, David? Is it direct? Would we go on the website and post something in there, ring you guys up, go through the CF network? How do we get access to you guys?
Yeah, there's various routes of being able to contact us. Just definitely through the website is a great channel, because you'll be directed to the division within Schneider that you need to speak to, and there's some very, very good customer care representatives in there. A lot of customers and partners also have direct account managers as well that they look after. So in reality, if you've got an existing route, then that is perfect, and then those account managers will escalate up to me if we need to, if they need to speak to somebody like myself at the product management level. And there's many routes of accessing us for sure.
Yeah, we see you at Tech Talks. There's an awful lot of people are around your stand at Tech Talks, especially when we done the energy monitoring one. Do you remember that one?
That's right.
Yeah, they used to jump all over you for energy monitoring, and now this as well. It's bits and bobs. And I know that you're one of our main sponsors, so thank you very much for that. How have you found the Tech Talk today?
Yeah, super. Yeah, thank you very much.
We've had 150 odd came to this one.
Right.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, please let us know by hitting the like button. Share it with as many people as you can. And we'd like to say thank you very much from David, from Darren. Thank you very much for listening to another CEF Tech Talking podcast.